Dwayne Johnson, who you might know better as The Rock, is a household name that's been on everyone's lips for the last little while. And whether you know him for his wrestling skills, which is actually where he got the nickname The Rock from, his acting, or his charity work, you'll definitely recognize his face. That's because The Rock is one of the biggest names out there, and that seems like something that will never change. With fame and fortune of this level comes big bucks, and The Rock has plenty of ways to spend them. Before we take you on a journey detailing exactly where The Rock is spending his cash, make sure to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and join our notification squad. Now let's get into how Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson spends his millions. As you might have already guessed, The Rock is pretty rich, but you might not be able to accurately figure out exactly how rich. In 2017, Forbes named The Rock one of the world's highest paid actors. His fame and fortune is all well-deserved though, as The Rock has worked incredibly hard in his various career paths and barely ever stops to relax. He first started ranking in the dollars during his wrestling career when he managed to consistently be one of the top box office draws in history. But it was his acting career that made his life truly wild. His first movies included The Mummy Returns and The Scorpion King, and he soon started commanding huge paychecks for even bigger movies. Since then, he's been featured in everything from the Fast and the Furious series to Moana, Baywatch, and Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. He also stars in HBO's TV series Ballers, and he's even used his experience as an actor in the movie industry to start a side hustle. This entrepreneur launched a movie production company with his ex-wife called $7 Productions. He's used this platform to launch and co-produce some big projects. But acting isn't the only way that The Rock funds his lifestyle. In early 2016, he also signed a worldwide deal with Under Armour, the popular fitness clothing brand. Through this, he launched his own sneakers, which sold out in less than 30 minutes at $120 a pop. One area where The Rock definitely loves to spend his money is on his style. Dwayne Johnson dresses brilliantly, which is never easy for a big fella. His style choices, from the wider lapels to preferring a three-piece suit, are all signs of an advanced style literacy. From the clothes he wears to the accessories he purchases and the places he stays, no one can say he's holding back. The Rock is famous for having an excellent collection of suits, and we all know that those don't come cheap. From a wine-colored tuxedo to a crushed velvet number, these custom-made suits are all expensive. But they definitely do help The Rock to look the part of a Hollywood actor. Not only does he have a full range of smart suits in typical colors like black, navy, and gray, but he's also not afraid to branch out a little with some patterns and brightly colored picks. The patterns he selects for the fabrics of his suits are refined and never too elaborate, merging classic elegance with eye-catching flair. And underneath those fancy suits is another area that The Rock likes to take care of and spend his money on. Not only are we talking about his body, but also his tattoos. His chest and arm tattoos represent different parts of his heritage, which is part Black Canadian and part Samoan. He's had some of his Polynesian tattoos done by a famed Tahitian tattoo artist named Poyono Yurandi, according to Inked magazine. We could talk about The Rock's tattoos for the rest of this video if we had the time to, but to sum them up, they involve three different elements: family, protecting his family, and having an aggressive warrior spirit. The elaborate detail includes the great eye, which is used as a distraction in times of confrontation, and many swirls, which are thought to represent the past, present, and future. His tattoos also feature the sun, a pre-spiritual guide, and stones of achievement and abundance. Tattoos from even the cheapest artists can add up once you factor in how many The Rock has, so we'd put good money on this celebrity's tats coming in at a high cost. And what complements an arm of tattoos more than a fancy watch? The Rock had dreamed of owning a Rolex ever since he was a kid, so it made sense for him to treat himself to one of the luxury accessories once his dollars started taking up space in his bank account. He bought his first one for $35,000 when he was a wrestler after years of wearing a fake one to remember his gold. Now, that's real determination. However, this happy story didn't finish with an equally positive ending. The Rock actually managed to smash his watch a week later when he stupidly wore it in the wrestling ring. We'd love to be sympathetic, but surely taking it off when you're about to fight someone is common sense. Either way, The Rock seemed to have had enough of the luxury because he never bothered replacing it right away. Nowadays, he can easily afford to buy one in every color. But he did buy one for someone else when he accidentally punched another actor back in the early 2000s while filming The Scorpion King. The Rock felt so guilty that he went out and purchased an expensive Rolex as a gift to say sorry. We think that would definitely make up for the pain of being punched. It might not surprise you to hear that The Rock has some very fancy houses that he keeps all of his expensive goods in. Despite having a huge passive income from his sponsorship with Under Armour, The Rock has a big interest in real estate, and he often buys and sells houses to make a profit. In the last 10 years or so, he's thought to have bought and sold around 10 houses, most of which are in Florida. One of his top picks was a 6-bedroom house in Hidden Hills, sunny California. He purchased it for an undisclosed amount and then sold it for almost $5 million. The man has a sensible head on his shoulders when it comes to investments, that's for sure. He bought another house in Florida that cost a huge $5.5 million. A little more than $1 million of that was solely for renovating the house, which included everything from adding in a giant gym to adding an entire guest house for his personal trainer to stay in. The enormous property also had 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, an infinity pool, and an awesome home theater. You definitely never run out of entertainment while living on this property, but The Rock used his business brain to eventually sell this property too, which might not come as a surprise as you learn more and more about this man. If that wasn't enough, The Rock also decided to buy a farm just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. It may sound random, but he goes there after grueling shoots to relax and reconnect with nature. He often posts photos on Instagram of himself fishing in his pond, hanging out with horses, and relaxing with his family on the grass at the farm. Locals say they sometimes see him at the Gold's Gym in Charlottesville, which means he's never truly just resting and is always trying to squeeze in another sneaky workout. When he travels, The Rock likes to stay in only the best locations around the world. He often posts on Instagram pictures of the fancy interiors of the properties he's relaxing or working in. We can only imagine that he's woken up to some pretty impressive views. And to get around from A to B when he's filming between different countries, you'd be wrong if you thought The Rock was flying commercially. Nope, this world-famous star likes to use a fancy Gulfstream G650, one of the fastest and best private jets in the world. No one is sure whether he owns the jet or just rents it whenever he needs to fly, but he certainly seems to spend a lot of time on it with his family. Inside of all these houses, hotels, and the farm lies a huge amount of food just waiting to be eaten. The Rock has a very particular diet that he doesn't like to stray too far from. To maintain his huge physique, he reportedly eats more than 5,000 carbs a day, sometimes across up to 7 meals. He'll even have massive carb-up nights where he just loads up on sushi. All in all, he eats about 10 pounds of food a day. He's a big fan of pancakes and also used to spend around $1,500 a year on cod fish. It only makes sense to have some luxury cars parked outside of his incredible properties. The Rock is a big fan of custom cars and showed up to the premiere of Ballers in a Pagani Huayra. This car was custom made, so the price can vary, but a regular Pagani clocks in at around $1 million. But even though it's custom made, Johnson said on Instagram that he's too big to properly fit in it. Imagine spending that much on a car that you can't even comfortably ride in. But we guess that it wasn't too much of an issue for The Rock because he can simply go out and buy another vehicle. His favorite car seems to be a custom-made Ford F-150 pickup with huge arched wheels and a sleek black exterior. It's a vehicle he can easily get in and out of with his 6-foot 4-inch frame. It also seems pretty on-brand that the Fast and Furious star loves such a monstrous-looking car. And The Rock doesn't only spend cash on cars for himself. The Rock wrote on an Instagram post detailing how he treated his dad to a new car recently to help make his life a little easier. He's also moved his dad into many different big homes. It's nice to know that he's a big softie underneath that tough exterior. He also gifted another custom truck to his stunt double, who's also his cousin. Tanawai Reed, the double, had just returned to work following an injury, and The Rock decided to gift him a brand new car to thank him for his 17 years of hard work. And The Rock's generosity doesn't end there. He launched his own charity back in 2006 called the Dwayne Johnson Rock Foundation. It's a charity that works with terminally ill kids. He's such a good guy, and his charity work only makes us love him even more. That's all for our deep dive into how Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson spends his millions. What do you think of his spending habits? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.